building a hot rod from scratch.
On the last episode of Barrett Jackson Builds, we got the front suspension installed from Speedtech, and this week, Dustin's here to install the rear.
Yeah, just like any big project, there's going to be a lot of finessing to get that body to line up the way we want it, so.
Yeah, still a lot of work left for both of us.
Yep.
And Dustin.
And Dustin.
Yeah. Well, we're working on our 69 Camaro project, and our Dynacorn body came with a pre-tub setup for a bigger wheel and tire, which is what we wanted. The only issue now we have is the Speedtech rear suspension is a little too broad for the car. So we're going to go ahead and weld in the reinforcements, and then we're going to get a correct measurement on the rear setup and cut it down to what we need for our new application. Now, when we requested these parts from Speedtech, they had no idea what we were thinking. We kind of changed the plan as we went. So now we're just going with it as, since we're early in the project, we can make any of the changes that we need and then get into the powder coating. Dustin is going to take care of all the welding and the cutting. We just kind of were putting our eyes around it. And Dustin, what do you think?
Speedtech did a real good job as far as their instructions and their measurements and what to go off of. Pretty straightforward, cut and dry. Just going to tack this stuff in. I think our biggest feat, once again, is that cross member center section, chopping it down, getting it to fit in between the rails, and then making sure all our components don't interfere with one another.
Yeah, and I think we took a measurement a couple weeks ago. We're kind of revisiting it. I believe it was a 4-inch section we got to take out. Once we do that, the only other thing we have to alter in that main brace is the panhard bar has to be reduced as well. Again, these are minor things this stage of the project, but that's the purpose of this. We're going to get ahead of it. We're going to test fit everything, get this thing as a full roller, take a broad look at everything, get a sizing on wheels to order, because as everyone knows, that's a major part of a project is ordering a set of wheels. It takes time, so we want to do that as early as possible, even before we get into paint and body on this car. But it's a good first day. We're going to get into it. We're going to see what we have, but it's pretty exciting stuff. Well, we're finally to the point, Dustin, where we got our rear end, our Dutchman rear end in the car on our Dynacorn body with our Speedtech Performance suspension. So it was a little bit of work because we ordered our body from Dynacorn already pre-tubbed to save us time on our end. But by doing that, we changed the setup of our Speedtech Performance suspension. So how was it?
We're still overcoming some minor issues. One of the things I was concerned about was when we sectioned it, because the body from Dynacorn came tubbed, we had to section the Speedtech down, and it ended up putting our coils buried on the outside of the mount. So we're going to have to figure out a way to make sure that that's got clearance so we can go to full travel without it wanting to kick back.
Yep.
And then we also are going to have to cut down our panhard bar and make that fit as well.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, the mock-up's good. She's in place, all the bolts are in and whatnot. We got the plumb bobs on it so we could find center this way and this way. So the plumb bob is kind of an old school method of finding center and whatnot. We're just using it right now as a rough measurement. Obviously with the 3D alignment machines and whatnot, they'll do all the fine tuning. However, this just gets me the center in the wheelhouse, and then also because of the tubbing and everything, we want to make sure that this rotor and hub assembly is the same exact back spacing as that side. So when we actually go to put a nice 12-inch wide tire in the back, we know that we'll have our perfect clearance all around.
Ultimately, when you have the rear end and we're welding things in, which we will weld the bracketing that holds this rear end, what we do not want is to get to the alignment shop and have a tire setting at ½ an inch or an inch to one side or the other. The axle has to be in dead center all the time, and that allows Dustin to see exactly where it's going to fall for its permanent location to be mounted to the vehicle once we get to that point, so we don't have to worry about this problem again. These problems that will roll downhill, and if you find later that we can't do anything about, major issues. Right now, very minor. This is the way we can control the situation, get the car where we want it, and move on. Once the car is on its own suspension, setting, resting, then we can worry about modifications to the firewall, which we talked about, as well as modifications to the front fenders, and adding all of the components, the spoilers front and rear that we were talking about. So again, first step in a major process, but we're there finally.
And just like you were saying the other day, you got a big feat to tackle with making sure all the door windows go up and
Gaps,
down and the quarter
yeah.
windows are right and the felts are evenly spaced because
Yeah. I mean, that's something that is lost in the translation a lot of times when cars are built. Yeah, we could throw it together where nothing fits, nothing's true, but this car is going to be a car owned by Barrett Jackson that we're going to take road tours. We're going to have out and about. We want to show our best work, and that takes a lot of pre-work of fitment and making sure everything's functional on the car so that we can show what we're capable of doing.
And fingers crossed, we put the front and rear glass in and those fit, so let's just hope the door
Side
components
glasses
are just as easy.
Yeah, I hope so too, because that's a lot of work, and that's something I don't really want to tackle right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, now that Dustin has the rear suspension modified and installed, it's finally time to see this Camaro roll around, and we have the perfect tool for that.
We've got those gunny wheels. Let's throw them on and get it rolling.
What are we waiting on? All right, Derek.
Let's go.
We're finally to that point where we're going to have a mobile vehicle for the first time since we purchased this, actually. Have you ever used a set of the gunny wheels before?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so anytime, you know, you're working on any kind of project that you got new brakes, new calipers, and you don't have wheels made yet, you know, obviously you don't want to be stuck on a lift the entire time. So the gunny wheels are made to clearance all the big calipers, all the big rotors. Get it where you can move your car around the shop, go to the metal shop, go to the paint shop. Okay, you're good. Perfect. Well, now that we got the gunny wheels on there, we can get this thing out to the fabrication shop and check out all that new carbon fiber that we got in.
That'll be fun.
That'd be awesome. Dude, I am super stoked.
Look at that.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty.
Black Tech has provided us with all these carbon fiber parts for our car that we weren't expecting at all. And now the time it's going to save us alone to get this car where we want it to be, give it the look we want it to have with the silver paint, it's going to be killer. I mean, they started with the deck lid and the rear spoiler. You know, we had talked about doing all
Super
the
light.
accenting on the rear spoiler. They've already done all that for us. Super lightweight, super high quality. And on top of
nice
that, they're
piece.
going to send us a hood, header panel, lower front valance, and a splitter for the front. So,
Nice.
I mean, that's going to be so much nicer than what we even originally planned. We've got a brand new car to work with. Now we have all this carbon fiber to go on the car. And then once we accentuate the paint, you know, because we're talking about painting everything but leaving the stripes in carbon. Oh, I think Brian is going to be super stoked. And
Brian
I know
Brian and
is.
Dustin.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to see how this stuff fits the car.
Let's do it now.
You ready to do it? I'll grab the tools. It's just amazing the weight difference. I mean,
Insane.
this is not exactly a
We should
heavy
weigh
deck
and
lid,
see.
but the difference in that, it's crazy.
Tilt your bottom in. There you go. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, just that right there.
Weigh it.
It's less than half.
Yeah.
Go ahead, start yours, and then I'll move mine. Yeah, so the carbon fiber parts are going to be a great complement to the car because obviously much lighter weight, super cool
Has a
look,
cool look,
especially
yeah.
if we're going to use it as our main stripe down the car. But right now, the main thing is get it centered up, see how they fit the car itself. They've never been together yet, so at this point, we've got to check and fit everything and then get our spoiler in centralized in the back of the car, and that's where we'll start. From there, you know, we get Dustin and Brian here, take a look at it, see what they think. Hopefully the hood will be here soon. We can show them the whole front end, and off we
Show
go.
them all the goodies. Cool.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, that's it for this episode of Barrett Jackson Builds. Be sure to stay tuned for next time because Dustin has a ton more fabrication work to do.
And don't forget all the TMI products interior we got to put in, so.
We still got a lot to do. Starting to stress a little bit.
A little bit.
I better get to work.